The last time I received an actual paycheck in my bank account, that's money coming in so that I can pay my bills, was over 5 months ago. Today, as I make this video, I have not been paid for the last 5 months. This sounds crazy, insane, even. And that's why you should watch this video as I'm about to tell you what I do every day because I'm not just sleeping or doing nothing. I actually wake up around recently 6 and my day starts. It ends pretty late in the evening, sometimes 10 or 12 p.m. Keep watching as I'm about to take you into my everyday life. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? The question I want you to keep in mind is what are you willing to sacrifice? Because most of us, we want to achieve big things. We want to build the next Facebook. We want to be Elon Musk. But are we willing? Are we willing to pay the price? And some of you all, you talk and there is no action because it's one thing to want something, to talk about it, and to criticize, in many cases, wrongly so, without actually getting yourself into the action mode. Execution is always where we see the difference between those who want to be and those who actually do it. If you're wondering, I'm a startup founder. I built, or I'm building a startup that started as Zanieza. On my video about why I am building this YouTube channel, actually someone commented, what happened to your company? Is Zanieza? Did it go bankrupt? And I will answer that question towards the end. For now, the company was rebranded, or actually to Terrific, and there's a reason for that. It's insane. When I started this journey of building a startup, there's so many things I didn't understand, and I'm not the only one. Most uh, founders of African descent or Black founders, we do not understand how startups work. We have no clue. And there's a reason why most of the biggest company, Apple, Facebook, even this YouTube, go look at the founders. They don't look like us. And I want you to ask yourself, why is that? And so 5 months ago is when I was paid, not more. And it's quite painful not to receive a regular income. Now you may be wondering, why don't you get a side hustle job or do something else? Have you seen the economy in Canada? Have you seen the economy in Canada? People are applying for jobs and spending a year without actually making waves. It's because as you get more experience, it becomes niche. And you can't even go to work at Tim Hortons because Canada, they've just allowed so many people. So the economy right now in Canada is shit. It's bad. It's really, really bad to get in the workforce. And when you build a startup, there's other requirements. Raising money is a full-time job. You have to be talking to investors regularly. You have to go to meetings regularly. You need to do sales. You need to be out there doing sales. So there's all those tasks that makes it impossible that if you have a 9 to 5 jobs, you will be able to meet all these other requirements. Because if your time is busy, not to mention your focus, because it's always about you are either all in or you are not. And that's the catch 22. Because when you go raise money, when you go talk to investors, they want to know, are you invested in your business 120%? Because the moment they hear that you are not, well, it becomes a concern or a red flag, actually. They will even tell you. So, what have I been doing for the last, oof, it's been 4 years. When I started, actually, the idea came in 2019. That was the beginning. And then, since I had the idea from Rwanda, where I'm from, in Kigali, I was traveling and I was like, wow, I'm going to do something in travel. It's my passion. But what problem can I solve in travel? So when I came back to Canada from Rwanda, I did my research to understand how building a tour operator company. I remember going to the library and borrowing a book. I live actually at the library and reading it and understanding the different structure of a tour company. And once that was done, that was actually in June. I spent about 3 months doing research and understanding and also writing my business plan, which wasn't really a good business plan, I must say. It was just a summary of what I'm gonna do and the type of packages I'm gonna have. And so, again, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have all these things work. But I had a business plan, let's call it that, 2019. And around November, it's when I registered my company, Zaniheza, at that time. First, I did in Rwanda because I was really focused on building something from Rwanda. So Zaniheza was incorporated at Rwanda Development Board. Rwanda does an amazing job, by the way. You can register your company in less than 4 hours. It's quite fast. And initially, of course, I didn't have the name Zaniheza as what I was gonna use, but that name was not available. And I had to come up with a new one. And I was able to register my company. And since I wasn't there myself, I had to work with someone in Rwanda to do that for me, a young lady who joined. And then I joined an incubator, ESP Partners, that was providing courses. We, founders of African descent, we like to say that we are always provided information, but more than money. And that's the truth. And so we were in that program. We were competing with other new founders, and so you have to apply. And we got into that program. In 2020, I traveled to Kigali. It was in February now. Keep that in mind. That was February of 2020, and I was able to reach out to the business community and present myself because I'm from the diaspora and talk about what I had in mind and get their support. That was really good. And sign up some even early clients. And then 2020 March, as you know, we had the pandemic. And it's funny when you look back at what you did in the future, you always say, oh my goodness, I could have done that differently. But the funny thing is, in every decision we make in life, we never really know because the information we have then and also how we are thinking, it's not the same. It really changes. Anyway, I decided to continue, and I was really, I don't know, I was really committed into empowering our youth. And so before you know it, I just kept increasing my staff. But the one thing we did that was really cool is we got on YouTube. So even though you are seeing me right now, YouTube has been very instrumental into building my company. YouTube has helped me. So we got into YouTube. We create content, travel content. We partner with some content creators, travel content creators. While the world was here in Canada, in America, it was completely shut down. Rwanda was a bit different. People could still move around, but there was a lot of restriction. Rwanda, I think, was one of the country in Africa that had intense restriction. But even then, we will be able to do some work. We, in fact, had some travelers, 20 travelers, and moving travelers in Rwanda in 2020 required some crazy logistics, but we did it. I'm so proud of that. We welcome travelers from the US, from France. Many of them we still talk to this day. But our YouTube, because we had to have content, and so you can go still look at it. It's now renamed the Terrific from Zaniheza. Not all content we created then is still on there. So to 2020 to 2021, it was really busy and staying positive and keep building. So I was focusing on that. By 2021, then I I changed a few things in the business because I felt that by then I had gained more understanding of what I wanted to do, which was not just have a tour operator company, but have more of a platform. So I transformed the Zenhiza to a platform, and I started reaching out to many other tour operators in countries like Tanzania, South Africa, and they joined. And that's when I found out that black founders get less than 5% of the VC money. But that's when I also start realizing that we, people of African descent, don't support each other, our businesses. And it is true, you can look at how many times the dollar circulates in other communities, like the Jewish community is a very good example. They shop within their community, they eat within their community, they invest within their community. Everything stays there before it goes anywhere else. Reality. What are we gonna do? Not only we don't get funding from venture capitalists, they only give us less than 0.5% according to a research in 2023 that's in the US. Um, our people don't support each other. I'm saying this straight because I walked that journey. But I didn't let that discourage me. In 2022, I was traveling across the country in Canada to talk to the community. I actually went to places like Manitoba. I went to Ottawa. I did Montreal included to hold seminars to educate the African community about building generational wealth, but investing in startups, supporting Zaniheza. Oh my, what a journey. And one of community organizer that I met who was connected to a community that was trying to reach out in Ottawa called me a, a scammer and even went on Twitter. This is this is true story. This is a person that I met, that I had lunch with. I introduced myself, and by then my credibility had already been established. I had been featured in Forbes Africa, in Vancouver Tech Journal. I had built my platform. It was live. You could go and see there. I had grown up to 50 suppliers. I did all of this bootstrapped and building a tech company without even being a technical person. And here I am talking to my own kind, to my own sister from Africa, a country near where I'm from. I'm from Rwanda. She's from Burundi, and suddenly she's just calling me a scammer. It's like, if you have your doubts, do your research. That's how it is. That's just how it is, unfortunately, among our community. But that did not deter me. By 2023, I realized that I need to reach out to the community in the US. Another reason why you cannot have a 9 to 5 jobs, because US black travelers spend 109 billion dollars traveling. If you didn't know, 109 billion dollars. And I was like, hmm, let's do something. So I started reaching out to the community in the US, and I was invited to a conclave in Washington, D.C., where they're building the future of black tourism. And I had to go there, and you have to raise money to do that because it costs. That's another thing in order to build a business. Now, that's why startups, not small business, it's not the same thing. We need to raise money, and we cannot get money from the bank because you're already building something that has not quite been done yet. It's not like I'm going to build a convenience, I'm going to open a convenience store or a restaurant. Those banks understand in your business plan, and they can give you money. I mean, usually you may need 10,000, 20,000, but it's not the same. It's not the same. You must understand that this is not the same. If you have questions, ask, and I will answer. But I can make video about startups and how they are built. 2023 was a good year. I was able to get myself to many places. I also won one of the most prestigious scholarship in travel at the Focus Wire. I went to some talk show and podcast and conference, and this is all part of being a founder. So that's where your time goes. You can't have a 9 to 5 jobs, and you have to be in Atlanta. You have to for the Black Travel Expo. I had to be in Miami for the Black Travel Summit. I had to be in Rwanda where they were holding the global summit there as well. You get the idea. So that was my 2023. It was a lot of traveling and exhausting traveling, but worth it. Because at the end of the day, if we're not at the table where decisions are made, where we can understand travel to this level, we can't have an impactful company. We can't build, essentially the next Airbnb, and yet we use it. We can create jobs, but essentially the platform, the vision I had is to bring something new to the continent. I still have it in Africa, where travel is more than safari. Africa, 55 countries, is rich in culture, but we need to be able to make those tours available on a platform so that the consumer can find it, so that the African global diaspora, you, if you are watching, can go and discover the continent. Why are we going somewhere else when our continent is there? 2024 didn't start quite well in January. That's when I realized that the name Zaniheza, when I was traveling and talking to consumers, because it's in a language they don't understand, it was very challenging for people to connect to that name. That means my future travelers. And so, and also listening to other founders and how will you come up with a name, because remember I started in Rwanda, but now I'm thinking global, and we had to come up with a new name, which is Tourific. Tourific. You can go check tourific.ca. That's the website. Don't worry, I will answer what happened to Zaniheza. So 2024, then Now the goal was build a pure tech platform, because I realized in 2023 at one of the summit that one of the weakness I had was being a solo founder in the beginning and being mostly on the business side. I didn't have the technical strength. So I had to find a tech co-founder, which is another big requirement if you're building a tech startup, and come up with an algorithm and bring this vision I had with our own tech strength. So that's what I did. It was really look again, because it wasn't the first time I had looked for a tech co-founder. They're very hard to find because they are usually developers, software engineers, and unless you're gonna go the calendar way where you're gonna put all your money as he did and build it, he used engineers from Ukraine and Nigeria. You need to find someone who is gonna join you. So I was doing that, and then once I found my tech co-founder, we spent pretty much 6 months designing and building the platform. And I have to tell you, hey, it's work. UIX, you design, and then you build the platform. But also, there's other things I do as the founder CEO, which is sales and then community building. We've had some really good, impressive results. Our TikTok grew to 13,000, a lot of meetings, but I decided to cut down on travel because one, I didn't have the budget for that. Initially, I was bootstrapped, and focus on community building within Vancouver as well, within Canada, and put a pause on the continent of Africa because I don't have money from China. And the African global diaspora, they don't want to be angel investors, at least not yet, and really look from within. And that's 2024. And yes, if you're going to ask, I did try to find a hustle. I'm a financial analyst training. And I have to tell you, the economy is really bad. So to answer your question, if you watched until the end, the Zanhesa is not bankrupt. You cannot be bankrupt if you didn't make substantial revenue. You can go on zanhesa.com, and that's the story. Now we are on YouTube. YouTube has been great, by the way. Really like this platform. Let me know what you wanna know about next time. Thank you for watching until the end.